You're listening to the Media Man Dan podcast. Let's rock!
Back in the hot seat with the incredible mastermind, master lyricist, and crazy rapper, Crimson Red. What's up, my friend?
What's up? Yo, is that an Eminem shirt?
Hell yeah, it's an Eminem shirt. It's that mugshot shirt.
Mugshot.
I love this shirt. I actually got this from department store Kohl's. I don't know if you have that in all states, but yeah,
Yes.
It was just like $10. I couldn't believe it. It's sad to know the king of rap. You can get a shirt for $10, but his website is still $100.
I clicked on it one time just to test it, and I was like, damn, shirts are expensive now.
You got to see his special deals where he's like, I signed this item. It's $313. 313.
Yo.
Because, everybody in the 313, put your motherfucking
hands up and follow me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's how we do it. This is a great start so far. All right, man. Well, I'm not going to start the interview like super duper professionally like I used to. Nowadays, I just wing it. And I let things flow. Yeah, and it's so much more fun this way. Let me see if your screen's going to have any issue. You're in vertical, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it will be fine. Dude, do you see how Skype makes me look like 4K?
Yes.
As opposed to Zoom, that was like 360 at the best.
It was funny because you said about using Skype, and the last time I used Skype, because I think ever since I used Discord, that's basically all I used.
Yeah.
The last time I used Skype was from 2017. And I was just looking through, before you called, I was looking through old messages and I was like, what the hell? Like, it's been so long, but Skype looks pretty good, actually.
That's exactly how I was feeling too when I started using Skype. I was like, oh, fuck, look at all these people I should have blocked.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, damn, I don't talk to them anymore.
It's like going through your Facebook after a couple of years and you just like see all of your family's posts and you're like, they're married? They have kids? What?
Yeah.
You ever go through like your old crushes or anything like that from like high school?
Honestly, I would say the most that I do is if I am scrolling through like old, for me it's messages. So like on Messenger, Instagram, Twitter recently actually. And like from time to time I'll click on their profile and I'll like see what they've been up to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, good for them. But yeah, no, and then there's other times where like if it's someone, if it was like an op or something like that, like someone that I had beef with, and like I'm looking at them, I'm like, yeah, I'm still pissed at you. Like,
hey man, it's all water under the bridge at this point. We all grow up, we all grow out of it, and most of them usually forget. Some people, they ride your dick forever, but they actually never want to be your friend. And I've met a lot of those people where it's like the only way to gain any respect from them is to be successful, and then they look at you for that little bit of time, and then as soon as you're not growing that success, they're like, oh, I have other things to do.
Yeah. That's why when I was heavy doing YouTube and whatnot, there was this one kid in high school and he'd get on every time I would post a video, he'd dislike it. Like it was crazy. Like he had notifications on and he was ready. As soon as the video got bam, dislike right away. And I was like, I don't know if you're my biggest fan or my biggest hater at that point, because you got notifications on. You're clearly subscribed. So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, he's doing everything, so.
Well, he's your biggest non-fan. I mean, he's gonna give you all the views. Yeah. I hope he showed up to my video too, but I can't see any dislikes because of the stupid settings that they did on YouTube.
Thanks, YouTube.
And speaking of YouTube, if you want to know any of my drama going on behind the scenes, I'm happy to spread that, but I'm going to let you know what's coming up next, my friend. I am finally excited to tell people my next step in the routine of Media Man Dan. So Media Man Dan is a podcast, besides the interview portion, is going to be focusing on culture. I'm going to be talking to people that either agree with me or disagree with me in every single area. So next month I got feminists, then I'm going to have some BLM people, some LGBT people. I want to have every voice heard on the podcast. That way either I can change my mind or I can work with them and use some common sense. And hopefully we can all gain some mutual respect for one another, and then their friends will do the same, and just spread it out like culture should. But here's the big thing that's coming, my friend. Now that I no longer am doing reactions for anybody except for my label and for people like you that absolutely deserve it. And speaking of reactions, we're going to jump into his EP very, very shortly. But I'm going to tell you this, man, I'm singing now.
You're singing now.
I'm singing now. So if you need any vocal tracks or anything like that, hit me up. I'll absolutely do it for free. I love singing, and I'm going to be doing a lot of crazy stuff. I'm going to do some covers. I'm going to do some metal, rock, rap, all of that, swing, jazz, just regular songs that I know or love, maybe some Disney hits. I'm going to have so much fun because YouTube can't stop me now. And so
exactly.
My first song's Frank Sinatra, My Way, because I'm doing it my way. Damn it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But that's the plan, bro. I'm excited. I'm excited.
I would say for the first part, having a bunch of different cultures and a lot of different point of views is very important. Especially like I would say nowadays and stuff like that, since so much is going on with the world and whatnot. Being able to have other people voice their opinions and have you voice opinions, I think that's one big thing that like a lot of people don't have nowadays is like debates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's really important. That's probably one of the biggest things I like watching as well, like on my free time, is like debates. It's two people with two different opinions, and they either come to common grounds or they kind of have that voice where it's like, oh, I understand where you're coming from, you understand where I'm coming from, and then I think a lot of people are more more in common than a lot of people think when it comes to certain things, and it just takes a little bit of time to sit down and think about that. So I think that's going to be huge. I'm actually looking forward to that, though.
Hell yeah, man. I'm so excited that you're going to be a fan of that. And yeah, I've been watching a lot of debates and cultural kind of stuff with the Whatever podcast. He always brings on these hoes that are just absolutely dumb as shit or really smart and you would never know it. There's that one big fat one, that everyone's seen on TikTok and shit. And they're
Gorlock.
Gorlock.
Yeah.
They actually had decent, and I can't believe I just said they. I mean, I'm not like that, but he whatever had good points at some points in that specific episode. I don't know when they came back, if they were smart that time, but my God, I was like, yo, like my favorite guy that I usually would go on there to listen to if I'm wanting a conservative Christian perspective, I listen to Chase. And there was a part where Chase at the end of the chat was like, you know what? Props to you for standing your ground, being brave, and talking your shit, and not caring what anyone thinks. That confidence is going to bring you so much further than most people on this panel. And I'm like, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, shit. Nowadays, it's like instead of people basically explaining how they feel or explaining like who they are or anything like that, it's basically just you try and have that civil conversation and it's like, yeah, so this is how I feel. And then it's like, oh, well, fuck you. And then, then that's when the interview can't, continue or, you can't get anywhere because it's like, well, if you're just going to throw insults, then we can't have a civil conversation and, really sit down and stuff like that. So, yeah. So anybody that even if like, say, in my perspective, it's like, oh, okay, I don't agree with you. Yeah, you have to respect somebody that can at least sit down, have a conversation, and really voice their opinions at the end of the day. Because especially depending on like whose podcast they get on, because depending on the podcast, depending on their fans, if you come on there and you already know that it's not what other people are thinking, to be able to voice your opinion and see where you're coming from, that takes a lot of bravery, and it might also change a lot of people's perspectives as well. So I respect anybody that stands their grounds on like what they believe in at the end of the day. Even if it's something I don't believe in, you still gotta respect it.
Bro, you're totally coming on the panel. We're gonna get you on one day. I'm gonna figure out which one fits with you because you're such a like easygoing kind of person. You're in the middle. You actually have critical thinking. That's kind of important. I'm gonna have, when it comes up to election season, I'm gonna have one specifically set for right wingers, and then next week or next month I'm going to do left wingers, and then we'll do the election. And all the time during that time, I'm going to have people that don't care about politics talking about it with me.
That'd be smart. Yeah.
Yeah, that way, because all the tension will be from those 2 months leading up to the worst month, and then that worst month I'll just be like, all right, so let's talk about anything else.
Yeah. Basically, it's like, all right, let's relax, guys.
Yeah, because then I'll have all of their haters or lovers that'll come from those chats, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, this guy was Republican, and now he's so anti-political. What's happening?" And I'll be like, "Listen to me. I was never political. I didn't get even close to politics. I was forced to give a shit because everyone gave a shit in 2020."
Oh yeah, and especially when I hit 18.
Oh
so many people around me, they're like, "Oh, bro, you gonna vote? Are you gonna vote? Are you gonna vote?" And I know, again, this is for another time or whatever, but it's like, for me, it's kind of like when it comes to the presidential election and stuff like that, the type of like steps that it has to get to where your vote, I don't want to say well, I would say matters and stuff like that. It's kind of hard because you have the electoral college, and you have so many other votes and stuff like that, where I believe everyone should vote for sure. It's just kind of like, for me personally, I'm kind of like, well, if I vote, then it goes to the electoral college, which has the final say.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, so for me, presidential wise, I'm just kind of like,
It's as like, this is a great argument, and I'm going to bring it up with the people that are religious, because I'm going to have atheists, agnostics, Christians all around the same time as well. I want to have like all those perspectives out there, because there's some smart people.
If you can get me onto that one too, I would love that, because this is more of like a personal thing, but recently, so I actually grew up Catholic and stuff like that.
Same.
And once for me, it was kind of like, I realized that the priests weren't really all that. And basically going to a school just like that as well, it was basically like, wow, like the Catholic, I guess you could say, like the belief behind it, the belief behind like being Catholic and stuff like that, you can hold that well, but that doesn't mean that the people that preach it are always going to be the best people.
Yes.
Because like the priest that I actually used to go to all the time when I went to church, when he passed away, it came out that he was a pedo, and he also had tax evasion. And we're like, what the hell, bro? Like you're telling us every.
Hold up, tax evasion? They're already tax free. It's a religion.
Well, what he was basically doing was he, for whatever. So how it worked at the place that I would go to is that they would get like new phones, new cars, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And basically he was using the church's money to buy more stuff. So
oh my gosh,
it was basically where it was like, oh yeah, this type of money is going towards the church and being spent on the church, but it's actually being spent on him.
Oh
so
man,
classified.
That's like taking your boss's credit card when they're like, "You can go get lunch for the team today," and then you go out and you buy yourself a sports car.
Yeah, basically. It's like, why was lunch to 100,000? It's like, yeah, man.
It's expensive. Biden's economy.
Yeah. Like, have you seen inflation, bro?
Oh man, how's inflation over there, by the way? You guys got crazy gas prices now, or has it been pretty normal?
I would say for the type of car that I drive,
4-cylinder, gas, 6-cylinder.
Do you know what the Acura RSX is, like the sports car?
Oh, that's a sports car. That's 4-cylinder.
Yeah. That is doing pretty good. I would say like to fill my whole tank, it's about $30, which I know for like some people, for some people it's like, oh, that's cheap, that's expensive. But I've seen people, go 50, 60, even 70. So for me, no complaints. Everything else though, like definitely like food. And I don't know if you saw, here we go back getting into, political shit again, but I don't know if you saw the Tucker Carlson video when he went to Russia to do grocery shopping and stuff like that.
Bro, I am so excited to actually see the full interview. I've only heard parts of it from my favorite podcasts, but I have not had the opportunity to watch it myself. That's what I always do, is I have to take in whatever is happening myself, and then I can perceive it that way. Otherwise, I'm going to be like agreeing with whatever I usually listen to, and they'll be like, "Yeah, fuck Putin," and I'll be like, "No, he made some good points," and they'll be like, "You're horrible. You're a horrible person." I'll be like, "No, you give them what they deserve. If they deserve it, like they won that argument. That's fine." Like, did you see Destiny versus Shapiro?
Mm-hmm.
Did you put it on 2x speed?
Yeah.
I put it on 2x speed. I was like, this is the greatest thing in my life. Fastest talkers alive. But yes, in all seriousness, you're not wrong. I mean, it is pretty political.
Yeah, because out of nowhere, like I'm not usually like when it comes to music and stuff like that, like usually I make stuff that's either about me or stuff like that. But I actually made a song recently that's going to go on R4L where it's basically like, kind of stuff that you can see, like that you see in America and stuff like that. Because I don't know about you, I personally don't trust my government, which most people do not. But
hell no, the government's the last thing I go to.
But especially after I saw like the when he was going grocery shopping in Russia, and basically what he spent for 4 people, it was $100 in American, and I was like, what the hell, bro? And like I remember like getting a couple of like food items, just like a couple of shit. Me and my girlfriend, for example, we'll just go out and get a couple snacks and like dinner, lunch, whatever. And it's like $50 before, like in a blink of an eye. We're just like, damn, bro. And it's hard when it comes to like I would say the only like positive thing is gas, and that's just because of the type of car I drive. But you look at housing, food, entertainment, you name it, everything is up, and everything's crazy.
Do you got any not resale? Do you have any like discount stores like Aldi or Costco, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, all that stuff?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because I mean, that's been my option recently. I walk in Jewel, which is Jewel Osco, is pretty sure it's just an Illinois thing, but you walk in there.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, you're looking around and you're looking at these prices, and it's like bag of pretzels, $6 to $7. Like, and they're like, this is the deal, right? It's like buy 2, get it for $6 each, and I'm like, okay, cool. I go to the dollar store, it's $1.25 for the same bag of pretzels. So I'm just like, yo, this is a scam.
Yeah, a lot more things I've been thinking strategically about, where it's like where I'm starting to buy things and how I'm starting to buy things, and
thanks COVID.
I was gonna say that was basically the start of it, and then it just keeps getting worse. Like
Thank you, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. He's teaching us about the economy without giving us any hope.
I was gonna say.
You were talking about your car gets filled for 30. Is that with half tank? Or is that full tank?
That's a full thing.
So you're going from empty to full is 30.
Yeah, around like 30, 35. Like for example, mine was at about to be empty, and I put in 20 today, and it was like a little, I'd say about 75%. So like that extra $10 definitely would have done it.
Yeah, your car has good mileage. My fiance, she got gas, I think last week, and she said that she put 32 in the tank, or 32 in the car, and it was like, you'd think this is like, oh, okay, well maybe she's like close to empty. No, she was coming from half tank, and that was to just fill the whole thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the cylinders, gallons, whatever gas station she went to. Some of them, you have the faulty hose, and like you don't know if it's actually doing the right amount. It's claiming that it is because it's following a specific number, but it's like, I'm pretty sure no.
Sometimes when I am pumping, like I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm not feeling anything, come out or whatnot.
Yeah, and the best thing to do, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that have been talking about this, is learn for yourself, read for yourself. So if you have a question, literally there's a book on it, there's the internet, you go to whatever you can, ask yourself, did a man create our cars to follow an exact algorithm 100%, or did he do it just to scam us a little bit? Because I mean, he had all the power in the world. Your little dial moves and it says that it's full, but what if it's not?
I won't lie. There are some times I turn on my car and from where it is, sometimes it goes a little up, sometimes it goes a little down. And it's every time that I turn my car on, it's always somewhere different. I'm just like, all right, bro, how accurate is this? You know, like
Yes, yes. And with smart devices, make sure that you know what the weather does to your device. My car is wonderful because I can put my charger in and my car is off, so it won't be charging anything. But if I keep my phone on the charger, it'll have some life when I get back up in the morning. Now, I'll have it full bars, no question, no internet, no Wi-Fi connection. I'll jump back in my car to go to work. My phone's already plugged in and it's at 0%. So,
yeah,
you know, it could be cold, it could be hot, it could be whatever it is, but whatever happens, that phone had 100% charge and then it just passed away.
it died. Yeah.
And yeah, it is wild how many things I've been so ignorant of when it comes to just my daily life and not questioning things. So like you are also focusing on your budgeting. I'm always asking myself when I walk in a store, do I want to walk out with anything? Because I counting it up in my head, I'm like, how much would that cost me? How much is this going to cost me? If I had a place, like you said, if you have home owning kind of experience, then you're probably going to be even more like frugal with your money. You're going to make sure that it's like pinching pennies to make sure you're not screwing yourself. And I know that just by a little bit of time with our credit card that we got a couple of years ago, I was like maxing it out every month because it had this low balance or whatever it was, and it would just max out. And then you're like, oh, well, now I owe money to this company for getting a piece of plastic. It's like, what a scam. This is a total scam. So yeah, I've been sticking to cash. I know it's not going to last forever, but I'm happy that I have it because then I know exactly how much I have on me. But I can say I've never been so happy to start a diet that's like try to avoid fast food at all costs because my God, did that shit go up.
Oh my God, yeah. Because like one of the biggest things was me and my girl, we would always go to like McDonald's and we did like a lot and stuff like that. And like recently now I'd say like because of other like financial stuff, I was just kind of like, yeah, nah, we need to like stop because it is definitely like hit a lot, for example. And especially too, like when you just kind of look at how many things are like taxed and how many things go up and whatnot. Because I was talking to my one friend too about how like I do reselling, like as a side hobby and stuff like that. And if you do like Facebook Marketplace, that counts as a 1099, and you know, Mercari that counts as a 1099. You know, doing music and stuff like that, you know, because it's all like solo businesses and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him. I was like, I'll never forget when I think it was around the Xbox One PS4 era when they started doing like really pushing heavy on digital games. And then they're like, yeah, now we're going to add online tax. And, you know, everything that you do online is going to have taxes now. And I was like, yep, any way for the government to make money, basically.
Oh, yeah. We are sponges. They just squeeze us all the time.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that we have nothing left by the end of it so that we can look worthless to them, and then we have to ask them for permission to continue life. And that is my biggest issue, and that is why the podcast will be focused on fixing all of people's heads in order to get into their brain. As I did with my friend who's liberal, I said, dude, listen to me. You had a lot of disdain towards conservative people, and in the pandemic time, you probably would have hated everything that I said, but now I've been going and growing and learning from a lot, and I'm a little bit more mellow with things, but I still hold a lot of those beliefs because that's just who I am. And he didn't have any issue. And I said, and there's plenty of people, most of the people are like me. But the way that you're getting your news is going to be telling you this, the way that your media is surrounding you with the idea that there is constant hatred and division, it just causes us to believe it. And I don't anymore. I don't listen to a damn thing they say. I don't know when shootings happen. And I feel horrible about that because then I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. But at the same time, I'm like, there's nothing I can do. And also, it's going to be a one-sided story no matter where it comes from.
Well, yeah, and that's because it's number one, there's always going to be some sort of agenda.
Yep.
And number two, it is on TV and they need to grab people's attention, and or if it's an article, you know, they need to grab people's attention and stuff like that. Like we already know how messed up America is with like certain systems and stuff like that. And, you know, they're always going to basically have some sort of way to be like, okay, we need to, I guess you could say, make it as clickbaity as possible and stuff like that. And they do that because it's like, yeah, we know how bad it is and stuff like that. But that was one reason that I personally stopped watching news, like, you know, TV news and stuff like that, is because it was really depressing most of the time. It was never where it was just like, you know, hey, we're gonna, you know, make America better this way. We're gonna, you know, help, you know, this XYZ kind of thing. It was always, you know, like, yeah, someone got shot, something got robbed. Oh, here's another school shooting. It's just like, damn, bro, like, and people are watching this before they go to work, you know, and then they're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to my job and you know, stuff like that. That's why I was like, yeah, I can't do that, because it's like I already know how corrupt, I know how messed up things are, so it's just kind of like, and I think my biggest thing is it sucks because, you know, I was explaining this to somebody before. It's basically like, you know, there was at one point somebody looked at the moon and said, hey, I wonder if we can get up there. And you know, time passed on, and then finally someone was like, I know how to get up there. And it sucks because I feel like I'm that guy just kind of looking at the moon, where it's like, you know, I see all of these, you know, I see all these, you know, shootings, I see all of these robberies, I see all this kind of negative things, and you know, that kind of stuff really hits me and really hits home and stuff like that. And it just sucks because it's like I really don't know any type of solution for it.
Yeah, that is my biggest fear as well when it came to like the what was his name? Oliver Anthony. He did the Rich Men North of Richmond. I thought, great idea, of course. Yeah, it's great to express yourself in music and have this real passionate, angry voice. But on the big like picture, what are we actually doing? We're complaining.
Right.
And when you complain, does a solution come to you? No. It's basically like having a temper tantrum. What do you get? Usually not the best treatment. So I think the best thing to do is to, I mean, ignorance is bliss in my opinion. I think that you should ignore the shit, let it go for a little bit. You know, obviously if it affects you personally, then, you know, let it affect you. But if it's not going to affect you, stop putting it as the only thing that you see as the reality. And like you were saying, like you've only seen the moon. You've only seen exactly what you can instead of what you think you could do to get to the moon. So I like that visual representation, and yeah, it would work. But at the same time, you're young, and I'm young too, but I'm a little bit older, and I can say like the wisdom that you're gonna have just by having that question or just by having that feeling like you're missing something is going to be so much more of a payoff than a lot of other people that are just going to be like, the moon's there because it's the moon, and we can't go there because we're human, and the earth is,
yeah, they just keep it pushing.
Exactly. That's all that it's ever going to be. And so when it comes to the agendas, like you were saying, it is very sad and it is true, but this is exactly how a school shooting goes. This is step by step. First thing, school shooting happens. Who is the killer? That's what we have to find. So it's either an unidentified killer or multiple killers or whatever. Then it's, why would they do this? That's the first question that we have. Not, oh my God, that's an awful thing, but oh my gosh, what was their motive? And that's because these fucking criminal shows and crime podcasts and all of this make us desensitized to the idea that these psychopaths should not exist in our society. So now we're asking too much about the killer. We put the killer in the spotlight, which then makes them more popular. So then more killers happen. Then we have the news.
It makes them like a martyr, basically.
Yeah. Then we have the news. We have the direct news that comes from a local area. That'll never be seen or heard by anybody. Then we have the big news. Big news stations, they bring their helicopters around. They bring people on the ground. And they're like, oh, well, obviously you could tell that this is just because people were allowed to have guns. And then the other side will be like, did you hear that? Hey, they're blaming the guns again. And that's all they ever do. It is an argument, and no one cares about the victims. No one cares about anything but the shooter and the motive. Yeah. And who gets screwed over in the end? The families. And those families then show up on our YouTube feed to the point where we're not seeing this as a sympathetic thing, but we're just like, they're just asking for money. What if it was a false flag? What if Alex Jones was right? That's the freaking frog's gay. Yeah. Like that's how it goes, man. We go into conspiracy mode. We go into why did this happen? Who did this? We go in full psychology when we should be in morality. We should say the most awful thing just happened for some people. That is the worst thing. If you know those people, they need to be comforted. That matters way more than anything that the news will or won't say. It matters more than anything that killer had or didn't have, if there's proof of a plan or not. Who gives a shit? Kill the bastard. I am telling you, we need to be ruthless with people that are taking lives of other people. And I know that that's a horrible stance, but the death penalty doesn't seem like such a bad thing for those psychos. I mean, it really doesn't. Yeah.
Like for me, this is like how I looked at like that kind of stuff. It's like, at least in my head, for how I would think about it. Like if somebody said to me, it's like, all right, what's worse, getting the death penalty or having to stay alive for 100 years with your own thoughts? I would say being alive for those 100 years with your own thoughts, because it's basically like you're by yourself, and even if you come to terms where you're like, damn, I really messed up, there's nothing you can do.
But and I think that really, the way that we portray it, unfortunately, right now, because of the trending negative topics that we have all over the television all the time, that motherfucker's going to get a documentary and a movie about them in 3 years.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, because basically...
there's some like, kind of superstar.
Yeah, it's like, hey, they're still in prison some guy here. Yeah, he's still in prison. We did an interview with him, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's going to be like, well, we want to know what was going on in your head when you took all the lives of those victims. And then some guy in the corner is like, a little bit more detail. All right, perfect. Send it to the scriptwriter. Let's get this thing going, guys. We need to make money off of people's sadness.
Yeah, and then someone that's not right in the head, they're going to be like, oh, man, I can relate to that. It's like, no, bro.
Well, we all know the... hilarious meme of we all live in a society, but it's the truth. That is exactly how some criminals and psychopaths behave and understand criminal activity to be, is that now you're famous. Now your face is on the cover of every newspaper, magazine, news channel. And so you're thinking, I did it. I am important. And that's usually what it comes down to, is the person, when they're not a insanely disgusting, like, I don't know if I can even say this, I'm pretty sure I would get killed, but I'm pretty sure if they're like an FBI agent or something like that, someone activated by the CIA, then it's a different story. But if it's just a normal person that just really wants to be seen by society, they will act out in some way or another, just like I said, kids and tantrums. That's exactly how it is. And so rewarding them by getting their face on things is going to cause so much more trouble. Obviously, yes, I am against the idea of killing people. However, I've also said the same thing of, what is the justification? The idea, if you come from the Bible perspective, you can say an eye for an eye.
Right.
But it makes the whole world blind. But in the justice system, it absolutely would make sense that if somebody were to take a life, their life should be taken. But it's that morality argument that you do have of, if this person was a actual psycho, if they were pushed to trauma, it goes to the emotional argument, and then one side will take that and run with it, and they'll be like, oh no, we should feel bad for the killer. They were bullied. The Columbine thing specifically, right? Oh, the kids, they were always outcasted. Of course this was going to happen. I feel so bad for them. You feel bad for murderers. How could you feel bad for murderers?
At the end of the day.
Yeah. It's their choice, their action. They pulled the trigger. That is the biggest question, is like, who pulled the trigger? We always go to the killer, obviously. But it's the person making a conscious decision or unconscious decision, if they've been activated by the CIA to do it. Like, I'm telling you, man, this shit's real. I listened to the podcast that he's on the watch list. He knows a little too much, bro. But either way, I want to get off this topic, of course. But at the same time, it's like, This is important because we as a society look into these awful traumatic situations in such a different way. And then we end up, what do? We have to point out our argument and how we're right. And that's what matters at the end of it. Not that families were completely destroyed. Not that psychos are now going to have this freedom to think they can just walk into any business establishment, including ones with children involved, and just let open fire. Like, it's just horrible, but that is the way that it is as we consistently talk about it, as we consistently focus on the worst side of everything instead of asking the question of how do we prevent it, instead of the idea of, oh, well, the gun did all the guns are doing their work. The guns are programmed to kill people. The guns don't have hands. They don't have minds. They don't have thoughts. This is the thing where it comes down to this left and right crap. And I hate it on both sides because both of them are completely wrong, and they focus so much on the killer, and they focus so much on the motive, and they focus so much on that. And then all those families, they're just left behind. But then someone else takes that the emotional argument. It's sad. Real sad.
That's why it's like for me, like when I have kids, I don't know if like in the way that everything's going now, I don't know if I want my kids to go to a brick and mortar school, because it's basically like a little bit of a story time too, with how like terrible the like, I guess you could say, the security, or just basically like the well-being of schools and stuff like that. When I was younger, I was meeting up my friend at his school, and we went to different schools and stuff like that. And you had to have either a little key card that you tapped it and it buzzed you in, or you call one of the schools and they'll let you in. Well, I walked up to the front door and I just kind of jiggled on the handle, because for my school, it was basically, you pull on the handle, you wave at the people, and they see you, and you're like, oh, okay, we know who you are, and you walk in. So I thought it was the same way. So I jiggled on the handle, it was locked. I was about to walk away, and they unlocked it for me. I walked in. The principal was like, yo, what the hell are you doing here? They called the cops on me, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But moral of the story at the end was, it's like, you just let some random ass kid that doesn't even go to the school into the thing. Yeah. I didn't have any ill intent. I was just there to meet my friend. But it's like, at that time though, it's like, imagine if I had ill intent and they just let me into the school. And it's kind of like situations like that where it's just like, bro, like, I can't trust my kids' lives and stuff like that to them, because they're over here like, oh yeah, like we're teachers and we're faculty, that your kids' lives can be entrusted in our hands. But again, for how many shootings there are, like just even alone last year and stuff like that. And again, from my experiences, for how, like, now thinking back when I was a kid, where it's like, yeah, my school, basically the first door was open and they unlocked the second door for you, and that's it. And then basically for the other school, it was basically I jiggled on the handle a little bit and they're like, oh, come in,
And buses too.
Like, oh yeah.
To some of them, like, I understand that we had strict guidelines that I would of course get in trouble. I accidentally jumped on 91 when my bus was 19. That happened a couple of times, and they were like, we don't know you. Where are you going? Yeah. And I was like, down this way. And they're like, yeah, no, this isn't your bus. It's like, oh, okay, my bad. But you get drivers all the time that change and like that. But it is the same security situation where it's like, we should have a structure in place where it says the only ones allowed in the building are people that are registered. Like you said, the key card idea is fantastic. Yeah. It should not be somebody sitting at the window and going, oh, they look like a nice kid, everything will be okay.
Right.
But
yeah, I like also,
I also will rebut, because I have this idea of, God is in control of everything. And I'm going to use your song title that you did with Edison, because it was fire. Fear, the essence of fear, should not enter into your mind for every situation. Like, we cannot think, I know it's obviously good to be prepared, Those people up top should be thinking about this, but we should not be thinking, oh my God, this could be the day where some psychopath gets on a bus, goes into the wrong school, and just opens fire.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't think most of us, I don't think that's going to happen to us. Now, obviously, the free cases, rare cases, and as they come more and more on the news, then people believe that it's happening daily, and South Park makes a joke about that perfectly. But like it's crazy that we have now gone to the state where we believe that we're not able to be safe just because something happened somewhere else at some point that we couldn't control. It now could happen to us because, you know, we believe it. And there's the biggest issue is like this panic that we'll get.
It's fear mongering. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The fear mongering is amazingly well done from the media. They are fantastic with everything that they have to push out there. They make it so believable. And to know that people are getting paid to consistently lie to you and they don't have any remorse. They don't care at all. They're literal puppets when it comes down to like the end times and everything. That would be
well, and like you said before, the morality of it all just kind of out the window.
Oh yeah,
where it's like
absolutely.
I have a job and I'm gonna get paid for this, so I'm just gonna,
say whatever's on the screen. It's like, do you not question? Like, is that one of the requirements for news broadcasters? You're not allowed to question anything you read? Because that's
like your soul leaves the front door.
Yeah, exactly. It's like as soon as we put you in that suit and the cameras are running, you want no opinions whatsoever. It's like, well, what if you find out, like this is obviously a freak case and this is a fear-mongering perspective, of course, as well. But what if you find out that your family got murdered and you're the one having to read that report? Are you not allowed to show emotion? Now, obviously, this would never happen because you would have been notified before you even took this. But let's just say you're reading it and maybe it's your best friend's kid or something like that you see on there. Are you allowed to emote? Like, that's my biggest question is like, where are they going to go with this idea? And I think what it's going to come down to is the robotic shit. I think it's going to be the AI because it won't be a sensitive thing. It'll be like, well, the robots told me that all these people are going through hell and they have no personal connection. And if it was a newscaster, they would be like, Johnny, what? Why?
Yeah.
Like that, it's important that we have a human connection, and it seems like it's more and more about the show, the entertainment, the view, not the terrible TV show, but the way that we see people, the way that we perceive beauty and stuff like that. Like they put 10 times the amount of makeup into these newscasters. And I always ask, why the fuck would that matter if you're supposed to be telling us the news? Like, why do you always look so damn attractive?
I think what they're gonna do down the road, like you said, with AI and stuff like that, and also take away where it's just like it's just telling the news. There's no emotion towards it. There's no mistakes.
Yeah,
is like, let's say for example, there's a fire that's happening. What they'll do is they'll get newscast out there and they'll take videos of the fire, but then they'll have an AI voice over the fire, so then there's no real person that's like trying to explain the news or anything like that. I think they're going to start getting rid of that altogether. One, for cost, two, for, like you said, the human side, and like for the emotion side.
Yep.
And then, the only time that you'll see like a human side is where it's like, oh, we're going to go out there, take the news, or like take an interview. But then after that, it's basically like, the AI is just talking about like reading from a script, what happened and whatnot. But I feel like AI is just going to kind of replace that for a lot of different things. Like AI art, I don't know if you've ever messed around with that recently. It's crazy.
I've seen it, and then there's some parts of it that look completely obvious, and then there's other parts where it's like, that could be real. And
I would say on your free time, use Bing. And it's actually, hold on, I got it right here. It's called Copilot. And just ask it something like, just be like, can you like make me an image of Eminem going surfing? And it's crazy how accurate it looks. And it kind of blurs the line between, legality, because an AI is just learning off of things that are there already,
pre-programmed.
But it's crazy how it kind of creates it on its own and stuff like that, and how intelligent it is.
The scary part is that the AI is going to be what we consider the convenience factor. And the convenience factor in every business is what usually runs the market. So currently, my favorite podcast has been the Real AF podcast with Andy Frisella. And he talks about, if we consistently say, fuck that mom and pop shop, we don't need to get anything there. We can get Amazon to deliver our stuff. Yeah. Eventually, what will happen is that either they will compete or they will drop out. Yep. And if the mom and pop shop competes, then they're going to have to run with the AI program as well. All the way to the point where these AI have now become obsolete. Not obsolete. They're the primary, and the human has become obsolete. So now they're going to let massive amounts of people go because the AI is getting exactly what they need, quicker time, no questions, no work hours that they have to worry about. They don't even have to pay the robot. That is terrifying. And we talked about this in movies in the 80s and 90s, and the sci-fi that we watched was supposed to be fiction. Sci-fi has now become the idea that conspiracies, the conspiracy theorists, they jump on that instantly, and they're just like, well, it happened in this movie, so it could happen. And that once again goes back to the point of fear-mongering, and it's just the question of, is this actually going to be our future, or is this just like freak cases that we get here and there? But like you're saying, the detail that they're getting from the art, it's only going to improve. I mean, our technology, our phones improve instantly every single year, and we don't even know how the tech works. We don't know the ins and outs of how to make a Apple smartphone unless we've watched videos or had some hands-on experience. Like, we're not in the other country making these things. So the last people that are going to know what goes on with these robots or whatever they're going to be is going to be us. And we won't know how to shut them down. We won't know how to destroy them. We don't know how any of that will work. And that scares me to the point of no end, because like you said, we want to have offspring. We want to have kids. We want to have families. We want to show them, this is the good way that humans can all get along in a society. And then we're just going to have these robots that are now seen as the most important thing. And then they want a robot. Everyone else wants a robot because, it's popular. It's a fad. Yeah. And then it's an upgraded robot. And then the upgrade is that this robot can read your feelings without knowing you. Like, it just knows exactly how you feel instantly. And the question, when you come down to the morality, is, should we have ever created it in the first place? It's the Jurassic Park rule. We should have never started this. We should have never touched this. Even Elon, who's been a huge component of the AI program, has said this is too dangerous. Now, Elon is also a great troll, so he could be using the fake fear mongering just for the conspiracy theorists to go, I told you, get the tinfoil hat out, Mom, I told you. But I want to be in a state where I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to have this constant on edge, what could happen next kind of thing. I want to be the voice that says, let's just stop and let's analyze what's going on. Yeah, it's obviously horrible in some cases, but other cases it's just exaggerated drama. And that's what we've always based our lives on, whether it's going to be the real world or if it's going to be the Kardashians or some other celebrity gossip. We always get involved in that, and that's what we consider our reality show, reality programming. And so it just changes your whole perspective on things. And I think I've never had too much time with it, so I haven't been sucked in as much. And I know plenty of people that have and still consistently talk about these TV shows and are like, oh, you would love it. It's just so funny. And I'm just like, is it really funny though? Like, it's like
she chipped her nail. That's the whole story of the episode. Like, okay.
Dude, it is insane what celebrities have done for distraction. Like, the celebrity of the 20s, right? You would have these very famous, beautiful women, very handsome men, well known for Hollywood films. And they were, yes, also a distraction, but most people were living their lives and doing their work. So they didn't really have that much time. It was like a special opportunity. Now we come to these days where all the celebrities are forefront on everything, as we talk about Taylor Swift and all the other celebrities that are going to consistently pop up in things that they don't belong in. We're going to see more of their faces. We're going to get more either hate or love for them. And they just don't stop distracting us because our tech is so up to date on everything, and our convenience factor is to the top of the food chain. It's scary. It's scary. I can't say it's not, but it's also like we just need to be aware. We need to say, all right, guys, when are we going to say this is too much? When is the breaking point where we all say, let's just shut it down. Shut it down. Because the biggest question is, if this movie that came out, produced by Barack Obama or the Obama family, Leave the World Behind, if this is our actual apocalypse, the lights still work, there's random shit going on in the world, whether it's the apocalyptic thing or whatever, but the Wi-Fi and the internet and our electronic devices won't work, and that's why we're all dying. That is so sad.
It's a wild concept, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very sad thing to know, that just something as little as the turning off the main power grid could stop civilization from moving.
And drive people crazy.
Yeah, we would need to have a backup plan. We would need to have some kind of education that's being taught behind the scenes to people that are actually strong enough and wise enough to make differences, because they're going to have to be seen in the right way, as we have learned throughout humanity, the leader of the pack. They'll be the alpha that we say, okay, well, they broke out of this system first, like the Matrix, right? That's where I always go to. And of course, that's once again sci-fi, fear-mongering, all of that. So it's almost impossible. It seems like it's a box that just has boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes around it. And you're like, oh, okay, I got out of this box, but
now there's another one.
You're still not even getting close to the outside of the big box that you're actually been in the whole time. And Eustace Conway, if you want to talk about boxes and philosophy, that's a great guy for that. Either way, I think this is the perfect time to start listening to your album. So for the patrons, you guys will be able to watch this part. For the people that don't have a Patreon account and don't want to spend $0 to have some fun with me and Crimson here. Yeah, exactly. What are you doing? It's so easy. You just make an account with Google, sell your soul to the technology. And then you just jam with us. We're going to start playing his EP, Loverboy. I'm very excited for this. Loverboy is a great band from the 80s. Just kidding. I'm not going to talk about that. But we're going to have some fun. We're going to listen to some music, and then I'm going to discuss it. So all the people that want to hear the music, you can go on my Patreon, listen to everything that we said during the reaction. It's going to be live. I'll probably have a little bit of pausing here and there just to get my thoughts out. And then for all those people that are not patrons, you can just watch the rest of this. It'll just be us talking about what we heard, and you won't be able to hear it because
you have no idea.
You don't like things for free. I hand things to you and you say no. Either way, man, this is phenomenal. I had no idea that we were going to go into some deep topics. Like, I didn't even do my main intro, and I was just like, fuck it. We're going to keep
just start rolling.
Yes, let it roll. Exactly. Just keep rolling.
What?
Thank you for tuning in to the Media Man Dan podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome day and stay safe out there. Peace.